Welcome back to Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Siobhan Riley. It is so great to be with you on this Saturday. The time right now is 7:25. We are about to hear from the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Association of Educators. Can you believe North Carolina is the only state that has not passed a budget? And CMS is at risk while the state still is waiting to see what's next. We have been hearing a lot from the superintendent, CMS Superintendent Dr. Crystal Hill. She's been saying that bold action is required from state legislators while the district waits for the state to pass a budget. If you recall, about 2 weeks ago, the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Association of Educators, they went before the school board and really just demanded action. We're going to hear from some of them today. Thank you so much for being with us today. We are joined by Ray Legrone and Adrienne Moore-Miller. Thank you both for being with us today.
Thank you.
Now, Ms. Ray, I was at that meeting that you were at, the school board meeting last week, and you talked about how on May 1st, you and your team, you are going to Raleigh and you're demanding that something happen. I know that you have been, and we've been hearing this a lot, people want to make sure that teachers get higher pay and so much more. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of teachers getting higher pay?
Absolutely. This is the Kids Over Corporations campaign where we're really asking for our state to double its per pupil spending to $20,000 a child, which is more aligned to the average. It's a little over average. And that would pay for not only teacher salaries to fill some vacant positions, to have really high quality, qualified teachers in every classroom. It would bring programs to our schools. It would increase our buses. It would allow for more flexibility in scheduling. And we know kids are tired in the morning and we might need buses for high schools and elementary schools. It would open up so many options if we increased our per pupil spending. So it's really not just about teacher pay, which is one of our tenets, but it's about more funds for our schools and our students and our communities.
And Adrienne, you also have been very vocal. Talk about the importance of teachers getting more money.
Well, if teachers were able to get more money, they would be able to live. A lot of my coworkers are not even able to buy a home. And the sad part about that is because we don't have that money, we have to go in our pocket sometime and buy supplies and stuff for our students. And how can you do that if you're not making enough money? So we're at a deficit.
I remember talking to a teacher who was homeless. Thankfully she was able to get into a home because an organization helped her to get back on her feet. But when you think about teachers, educators, homeless, what comes to your mind when you hear that?
It's disheartening. We're here to educate our future. And unfortunately, we can't even help ourselves sometimes.
It makes me feel like if education is the backbone of our community, if our schools are places where our kids can be safe and fed and happy and learn, then we have to make sure that all of our staff are taken care of as well. Because if you don't have a home to go to at night, you're not going to be able to fully help the children in your classrooms or in your buses or in your cafeterias.
And that leads me to my next point. That is why you both and thousands of other people are planning on going to Raleigh on May 1st for a rally. And I do want to mention this too. Yesterday, CMS voted to make the day an optional work day for teachers. That's because more than 1,800 absences were already pending for that day due to that rally that's happening in Raleigh. What do you hope to accomplish in Raleigh? I'll start with you, Ray.
Well, we are super excited for our teachers, our support staff, our instructional assistant, our bus drivers, our parents, our students, and our elected officials to come out and stand with us. What we are hoping to get from this is energy. We want to show that our voices matter and that we have strength in numbers. And we want to show that we are unified in our demand for our state to not only pass a budget, but pass a pro-public public education budget, where we decrease the money going to private schools and we decrease the tax cuts that are coming from corporations. And what we do is we take that money and we spend it where it really matters, and that's in our schools with our children every day.
And Adrian, what about you? What are you hoping to accomplish at that rally?
Definitely everything that Ray said, but I do also want to thank the Board of Education for seeing how important it was that us teachers were able to come to Raleigh together as solidarity, and they standing with us to make sure that, these things happen for our children.
I attend most of those school board meetings, whether it be in person or virtually, and I have heard Dr. Crystal Hill say time and time and time again, teachers need more pay, we need more money. When you think that the state still has not passed a budget, what do you think about that?
Again, it doesn't make sense. We're 32 days out from school ending and our budget hasn't been passed. How do they think we're supposed to sustain higher education for our children if we don't have the money or funding to do so?
It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to our elected officials that have to make a budget without knowing how much they have. And for a system this large, I can't imagine the hoops that people have had to go through to keep us running. It's surprising to me that you can be an elected official and go and not do your elected duty. So that is shocking to me. And we have to, as a community, rise up and say that this is not right, and we voted for you, and you need to do your job.
Exactly.
Wow.
And can I say, I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
I want to also advocate for those bus drivers, because some of our kids are getting to school really late because we don't have enough bus drivers who, of course, are also not making enough money, but they are doing 2 and 3 routes getting these kids to school late, and that's unfair.
And I want to read you a quote from Dr. Crystal Hill. She says, "The lack of a budget decision puts us at risk for reducing programs, narrowing options, and limiting the endless possibilities for students across the state and CMS." What do you both think about that? I'll start with you, Adrian.
Well, the fact that, they are taking some of our monies and giving it to private entities is, again, I keep saying disheartening, but that's the only word that I can, keep saying that it describes how I feel. It doesn't make sense that they're using our money and to give to private communities or private schools, and not giving it to free public education, where these kids need those different programs to sustain a good education.
What is your message to lawmakers right now?
Our message to lawmakers is that we are keeping track of how you are voting, what you're voting on, what you're allowing to occur in North Carolina. We're keeping track, and if you are not for public education, then we are going to make sure our communities vote you out. It's really time for us to make sure that public education is front and center in our legislators' minds, and we're here to say, this is your opportunity to do that. Show us how you value public education, and if you can't show us that you value public education, then we're going to make sure you're not in that job anymore.
Right, and if you don't believe we can do it, you can see us on May the 1st.
And speaking of May the 1st, as we've been talking about, there is going to be a rally planned in Raleigh, and your message is really give us more money. Anything else that you really want lawmakers to know, superintendent, the school board members? Is there any other message that you want to get across?
Pass our budget.
Pass the budget, and also really think about what North Carolina would look like if we continue on this path. We're really friendly to our corporations as far as taxes, but what corporations are going to want to move their employees to North Carolina when our public schools are not funded? So we have to really think holistically about our state and really centering these children, because this is our next workforce. These are our next doctors, nurses, our next teachers, and we need to make sure that as a state, we are preparing them. And so when we get older, we can reap the fruits of having well-educated children taking care of us.
Exactly. And you can't expect us to do it with us being number 50.
Wow. What is your biggest fear if a budget isn't passed?
I fear that we are going to continue on the path that we have been on for a couple of years now, where as a teacher, I'm seeing more and more teachers leave the profession, new teachers leaving the profession. We lost about a third of our teachers over the past 3 years. As a veteran teacher, just watching people come and go, I fear that this is going to become an increasing trend, and that folks aren't going to want to go into teaching because they know they can't make a living wage. So I fear that what's really going to happen is that folks are going to stop taking these jobs, and then our schools are going to have a lot of issues with vacancies and understaffing.
What's your biggest fear, Adrian?
The same thing that Ray just said, I feel like schools are going to start closing down. And then when schools close down, where will our kids go?
You think about Superintendent Dr. Crystal Hill. She has said that we're losing teachers here in Charlotte. They're going to South Carolina because they're getting paid more in South Carolina than they are right here in North Carolina. What do you think when you hear that?
It doesn't make sense. That's the same thing I was saying. We're 50 now, I moved here thinking, okay, my son's going to get a better education when we go down south. We have family, and I brought him here almost to fail.
Oh, wow.
And as a mother, also an educator, that's hard to swallow.
When you think, those are some powerful words. You feel like you brought him here to fail.
Yeah.
How is he feeling about this? We talk a lot to educators. What is he saying about this?
Well, my son, he also has an IEP, which, the first thing they take the money away from is special education. So leaving another state where I thought his IEP would be utilized and then get here and it isn't, thank God I'm an educator myself, because then I can give him the support at home. But there's parents out there that can't. So that's a hard one.
Wow. Anything you want to add to that, Ray?
I just want to add, I also have a son in CMS schools, and he's really excited to see people taking a stand for him and his peers. I think that we are showing them that just when you see something that's not right, you need to say something. If you see bullies, you call them out. And if you can make something better, you do that yourself. You band together with the people around you and you make it better. And so he's actually really optimistic and hopeful and excited and coming with me on May 1st. He's bringing some friends. There's just a lot of optimism there that we haven't seen in a while. And that part is really exciting for me. We are in hard times without a budget, but there's still a lot of hope and optimism that we can make a change, that we don't have to accept this.
And any idea about how many people you're expecting to show up at that rally, or is there no way of knowing?
There is no way of knowing. We are super excited. If there are 10 people there that are as dedicated as Adrian and myself are, then those 10 people, we've got a lot of planning and excitement. We know there's not going to be 10 people.
Yeah.
We know there will be thousands of people, and we are hoping for thousands of people just from CMS. So, but there's really no way to say yet, but it's going to be big.
Do you feel like when you have that rally on May 1st, do you feel like lawmakers are going to hear you? Do you feel like there's going to be something that's going to change and be different from the last few years?
There's no way that they won't be able to see us, because we're going to be out there in red and loud and proud and, speaking up for our children. They will hear us and see us.
And this isn't just a one-day action. This is, we're building on actions we've done recently, and we have lots of actions coming in the future, and they will see us and they will hear our statements because there will be so many they can't avoid it. And our elected officials will also be with us on that day as well, especially Mecklenburg's delegation, our city council members, school board members, county commissioners. They're so supportive of us, and so they will be there and they'll be able to hear us as well.
Right, because we've been emailing, texting, phone banking, so this is not just a one-day event. This is an ongoing thing, and we're not going to stop until we get what we want and need.
Have any of them gotten back with you, lawmakers, school board members, the superintendent? Have any of them said anything to you?
Absolutely, and truly all I have heard has been people being excited to do this work together. They understand that, we can't do things separately. We have to work together. And our folks are really behind us. They're behind our kids, and they're behind making things better for our communities. But yeah, we have heard from several people. We've talked to several school board members, county commissioners, superintendent. People are really, really excited, and we've had a lot of thanks. People are thanking us for taking a stand.
That's right.
And Ray, when you went before a school board a few weeks ago, I know it takes a lot. You talked about people standing up and not being afraid to do what's right. What was your thought process when you were going through and talking to school board members? Take us through that.
My thought process, I'm a visual arts teacher, and I've seen what necessarily happens is that when you are in a big crunch, you start to lose programs, and the programs that often get lost are the arts. And I know there's a lot of talk about mental health and social emotional learning, and watching these programs leave schools is like watching social emotional learning, the core concepts and classes in which you can really get involved. Leaving, it's so upsetting that you can't take a back seat. You have to say something. You have to talk about what's really happening in the schools. We have so many schools, it's impossible to know, what is happening in every school. So for me, it was important to talk about the programs that we are missing, and it's important to draw the line to the state. Yeah. So it is not because CMS doesn't want to fully fund all of our schools and classrooms and programs. They do, and they are good at what we do in CMS. It is a matter of the state living up to its obligation to fund us to do what we know we can do best.
And you spoke about those arts. My aunt, who passed away 2 years ago, she was a music teacher, and she talked about the importance of those programs. She loved those programs. How important is that for you as well, Adrienne?
It's very important. I'm at a Montessori school where we still do like foundation things. So to hear that it's taken out of basic schools, do you know a lot of kids don't even know how to write cursive? Like the simple things have been taken out of the school just because we don't have the funding to do the extracurricular activities. Those kids need those outs to just live a basic life. We're not giving them the tools that they need.
Yeah, those programs are very important.
Very.
We have less than about a minute left. I will start with you, Adrienne. Final thoughts. What is your final message to lawmakers, or anything that you just want to end by saying?
I want to say, do the right thing for our children. Give our children the money that they deserve. Kids over corporations. Stop funding those big corporations, and give the money to our kids. They are our future.
They certainly are our future. Ray, what do you want to say?
I want to say join us. We're a great group of people, and we are the foundation of our community is our schools. So join us. Anybody that wants to come to Raleigh, please come to Raleigh. Bring kids, bring your parents, bring your elderly folk, bring everybody. It's going to be a really good time, and we're also going to be doing serious work at the same time.
And that's May 1st.
May 1st.
What time do people need to?
10 a.m. Halifax Mall. So we have a rally starting at 11, but people should get there early because they're expecting very large crowds.
Yeah, they're expecting thousands.
Yes.
Again, that rally is taking place on May 1st in Raleigh. And as we mentioned earlier, yesterday, CMS voted to make the day an optional workday for teachers. More than 1,800 absences were already pending for the day due to a planned rally in Raleigh. I did get a chance to speak with some officials from the district, and they said they just felt that it was best to just cancel classes that day. Ray and Adrian, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back after the break.